What's going on, everybody? I got my boy Jimmy right here. Jimmy is an Amazon six-figure seller and also the newest coach inside of the AMZ Masterclass Mentorship. And today we're going to be going over the five biggest mistakes that new Amazon sellers make. So I'm going to give my five, Jimmy's going to give his five, and then we're going to go through them. So let's get into it. So you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first and then
Oh,
I'll
sweet.
talk.
So
Yeah.
my number one biggest mistake is launching a product that is not differentiated. So if it's not differentiated, people are going to shop based on who has the most reviews and the lowest price. And as a new seller, you're going to have neither of those. Something like just changing the color to me isn't enough. You want to actually add value into the market, whether that be changing the design or adding a bonus item that's relevant to the main product. What do you think about that? You have anything to add
No,
on
I
that?
no, I agree. I think it's important to differentiate your products entering Amazon just because, like you said, you come on there with zero reviews. If you're gonna go on there and you're competing against guys with like hundreds and thousands of reviews, it's definitely gonna be hard to convert, especially when you're trying to run ads to try to rank organically too. So
Yeah.
definitely differentiate.
And when you differentiate, it makes it where you're not just competing on those reviews. So, like if you have a seller with 500 reviews, 4.5 star rating, and you have 50 reviews, 4.5 star rating, but your product is better, people aren't necessarily looking at the review count. They're looking at the value of the product.
Yeah. So if you have a stronger offer, I think you'll
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. All right. Go ahead with yours.
One of mine will be cheaping out on not getting inspection when getting their bulk order finished. The reason why I say that is just because, let's say it's your first time working with these manufacturers, you can't trust them right off the bat. Always get inspections because they do mess up on things, and if you just give them all your trust, and let's say you send all 300 units of your test order to Amazon, and customers start ordering it, and there's just a huge defect, you're going to get a lot of returns, and that's just going to be bad on your account, and it's going to be very, very hard to recoup from that. You also get something like the frequently returned badge, and from my experience, your conversions just dip down right after that. So
Yeah. And
very
it's not even
important.
about like not trusting the manufacturer. It's just that like mistakes happen sometimes. Maybe you have a product that you need to build and the manufacturer doesn't include the instructions, the instruction manual on how to build it. That's going to crush your conversion or and your reviews. So yeah, it's not even about like not trusting the manufacturer. It's just double and triple checking.
Yeah, for sure. Just to be safe.
I had a scenario, this was my early days of selling on Amazon where I didn't get a product inspection done. I had placed an order with a new manufacturer because I was trying to get lower cost of goods, so I switched over manufacturers. It was on a product that I was already selling. And this is before I would have my inventory sent from uh, my manufacturer directly to Amazon. I'd actually get it shipped to me. And so the order arrives and I open it up because I had ordered samples and the samples were good. And then I open up the boxes and the product was terrible. Like the quality wasn't what the sample was that I received.
Oh,
And
damn.
so had I gotten a product inspection, it would have saved me thousands of dollars and a big headache because I had to go and dispute it with Alibaba.
No, yeah, that happened to me with my first product too. I'd say my first product actually was good. It did really good. Ended up getting the Amazon Choice badge and everything. So second time around, I just did like, minor adjustments and tweaks and, to improve the
Hmm.
product even more. But me just being kind of new and gave the manufacturers the benefit of the doubt, I didn't get inspection done, and I ended up getting the frequently returned badge because it was a product that required just a quick assembly, but there was an issue with that, and yep,
Yeah.
got hit with the returns, and it's hard to get it back up.
Hmm. All right. So my number two biggest mistake is running ads too early with little to no reviews. So, reviews are social proof for your product. You have to think of it from the perspective of the customer. How many times have you bought a product on Amazon with zero or bare, like one or two reviews? And I'm talking about at scale. Maybe it's happened here or there, but reviews are going to be the social proof. Before you ever start running ads on your product, you should have at least 10 to 15 reviews because you're going to notice a huge increase in conversion. First off, just by getting a few good reviews, but then getting 10 to 15 like 5-star reviews, or if you come out of it, like if you do the Amazon Vine program with a 4.5-star rating, that's going to do wonders to your conversion. And you want a strong conversion rate. Otherwise, you're going to waste money on ads in the beginning while you're testing.
No, yeah, I totally agree with that as well. Just because, like you said, you have to put yourself in the customer's shoes. You would never buy a product with zero reviews. So
Hmm.
I always suggest getting Vine reviews, or 10 to 15 is for sure like the minimum before I start running PPC.
Yeah, same. I just launched a new product 2 weeks ago and I waited till I got 10 reviews before I started running ads.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's a lot of new sellers make that mistake. They're just so eager to, start running PPC, but then they don't realize that they're just gonna be burning money
Hmm.
doing that. You're not gonna convert with zero reviews.
There was just somebody on my TikTok comments who commented, and they essentially were like, "Oh, I wanted to, get take advantage of the honeymoon period, and so I started running ads with no reviews, and they ended up losing a bunch of money."
Yeah, no, that's definitely don't do that when
Yeah.
when starting. Get
All
your
right.
review, then launch.
Your
Um,
number two?
my number two, I kind of want to add on to that in a way. What I had was just not checking your cost per click for your product when launching. I say that when you are doing product research and you find a product, I try to make sure that the cost per click is under $1.50. I guess it also varies. If you have like a high ticket, then I guess $1.50 is kind of acceptable, but something you just want to be aware of.
It'll be based on price. Like $1.50
Yeah.
on $150 product isn't as bad, but I'm with you there. Like with my product criteria, which I know we use the same criteria, is the product should be under $1.50 cost per click. A lot of people, not a lot, but some people won't check this, and then they come to realize that, oh, my cost per click is 250 for a 35 or $40 product, and that's unless you have an insane conversion rate and an insanely good organic rank, that's just not sustainable.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard to be ranking your products with such high cost per click on a low ticket item.
Hmm. Yeah. So my number three is not calculating your profit margin before placing a bulk order. Something that I say is if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That goes for your cost per clicks, that goes for your profit margin, that goes for later down the line when you're running ads, knowing your metrics. But you need to know what your margins are after FBA fees, cost of goods, and shipping. You want to be at least at a 30% profit margin pre-ads on your first product. And 30% is the minimum. So I've seen beginners come in, they just, oh, here's my cost of goods, here's my shipping, but they're not calculating what their profit is just to come to find out that they're running a product at 10% margins or 15% margins pre-Amazon ads, which again, not sustainable, and you're going to probably end up losing money.
No, yeah, I definitely see that mistake a lot too. People just kind of rush into things, not checking everything correctly. I think a lot of people just don't know how to check it correctly, from my experience, and they just get into it and then they realize once they start running ads, they're like barely profiting anything
Hmm.
in that.
Yeah, I think it's just a lack of knowing, like because, Helium 10, Data Dive, Amazon's revenue calculator, there's multiple ways for you to check this. You plug in your product dimensions, your shipping cost, your cost of goods, the category of your product, and it's going to break down exactly what your fees are. And then if you plug in your cost of goods and shipping, it's also going to tell you what your profit margin is.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, your number three.
My number three is just going to be people who are just adjusting their PPC campaigns all the time and not letting it gather data. I think that's very, very common mistake with everyone when it comes to doing ads. They just
Mhm.
want the minute they see something like let's say they're not getting sales, they're gonna go and then they start making crazy, crazy adjustments. And with anyone running advertising, whether it's on Amazon or just like meta ads, you have to let it gather data and
Yeah.
kind of warm up, and then you can make your adjustments or have your own judgment on, all right, should I change this based off data, because everything should be data driven.
Yeah, people start to make emotional decisions with their ads, and I've even seen people where they're literally going in and adjusting something every single day. They're not collecting enough data to even know what they're doing is working or not, and then you just end up messing up your ad campaigns.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Nice. So my number four biggest mistake that Amazon sellers make is if your ads aren't converting, continuing to spend on Amazon PPC without optimizing your listing. So this is assuming that you have a good product and a good differentiator, but more ads are not going to fix your conversion. If you spend $100 on ads and your conversion is terrible and you do nothing to optimize your listing or push for more reviews, your next $100 or $200 in ad spend isn't going to just magically increase your conversion rate. So, something that I've used this example before is think of it's the billboard example. So think you're driving down the highway, you see a billboard for a restaurant. So you pull off the highway, you go to the restaurant, you notice that it's dirty, it's grimy, you check the menu, the food isn't good, the food doesn't look good, and then the environment of the restaurant doesn't look appealing. So you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna go and eat here. Whose fault is it that you didn't go eat there? Is it the billboard's fault or is it the restaurant's fault? In this example, the billboard is your Amazon ads. If somebody clicks on your ad, the ad did its job. But it's in the restaurant is your product and your product listing. You have to improve that in order to turn the traffic into an actual conversion.
I love that analogy actually, because a lot of people always blame their ads for not working, but
Mhm.
I always tell them, I'm like, the ads do its job. It's getting you the exposure you need for your product, but if you look at your conversion, you're not converting. So you have to dive a little bit deeper into why it's not converting. Check
Mhm.
your main image, your title, your bullet points, whatever, optimize your listing, try it again and see if it improves.
Yeah, I had a product where I changed the main image four times before my conversion rate started to improve.
Yeah, you have to always the game with Amazon, it's always testing, you know.
Hmm. And you have to make proactive optimization. So I'm not talking about what we just spoke on, the last mistake, not changing things every day. But like if you collect the data and you see something's not working, that's when, like you said, you go in, okay, I'm going to test a new title, I'm going to test a new main image, and you have to be making those proactive optimizations.
Yep, I agree.
Hmm. All right, your number four.
My number four is not analyzing the market and the data when doing product research and entering into certain markets. A lot of people find themselves getting into seasonal products or just super, super competitive markets because they didn't analyze the data correctly. And I
Hmm.
think with you and I, we both follow a pretty similar and strict criteria. And, the reason why we do it like that is just because we try to ensure the student success when finding a product, and
Yeah,
it's
I
very
totally
common now.
I tell people it's not about selling a product that you think will do well or that you like. It's
Yeah.
about selling a product with good market numbers. In fact, a lot of the products that I failed selling on Amazon, now my first product was successful and it's like I followed all of the fundamentals for that product, but then some later and slash early products that I launched after that, it's like I threw those fundamentals out the window and I went and launched products that I was like, I like this kind of product. Like one that I failed was lifting wrist straps. I was like, I go to the gym. I think this will do good. Was not a good market to enter.
Yeah, no, a lot of, I think you have to, look at the data, make data-driven decisions, kind of base everything off data and then from there dive into it and see
Yeah,
what
and it
improve.
also falls into if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. If you don't know the
Yes.
numbers of the market you're launching, and you really don't know your business.
Yeah. The game with Amazon really it's a lot of data, when looking at your ads, and looking at the market data, to determine
Hmm.
a good market to enter. So everything is precise, if you follow a strict criteria, I
Hmm.
think you ensure a better chance of success like that.
100%. All right. My number five and final biggest mistake Amazon sellers make is thinking that Amazon is a get rich quick scheme. So it takes time to see traction. If somebody thinks that it's a get rich quick scheme and they don't see results right away, they're going to start making emotional decisions, which is not how you should be running a business. You should have the mindset of building a business, not fast money.
Yeah, with any business, you shouldn't let your emotions dictate your actions, Um, always be precise with the decisions you make and be logical with it. Never act on emotions. And yes, it's like any other business. It's not a get rich overnight. And I think a lot of people just come in with that expectation.
Yeah, I'll get comments of people saying, like, if I start Amazon in a month, will I have $1 million in sales? It's like, take it easy there. First,
That
focus
shouldn't be
on
the
getting your
question.
first $1,000 in sales, and then
Yeah.
you start to build up from there.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the question that you're asking. I feel like a lot of people, I get questions like that too. They're just like, oh, like how do I do my taxes? Or, just worry about things that are like way in front of them when
Hmm.
what's most important is just starting.
It's like
That's
building a Lego, right? If you have 1,000 pieces right in front of you, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to turn this into a car,
yeah,
but then you sit and you open the page, start with step one, put the first
yep,
few pieces together, and as you go through, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, I'm seeing it starting to form. And then, finally, when you get to the last page, you're like, I get it now. Like I had to start with page one, step one, in order
yep,
for me to get here.
yep.
Yeah,
Thing is one step at a time. Just focus on
yeah,
what's in front of you, what you can do and control. Don't stress about things that you can't control or like, can't, focus on at the moment
for
because then you
sure. All right, what's your number five?
my number five is not listening to the customers or the reviews that are on the market. And the reason why I say that is because when you're coming out with a product, you are not creating the product for yourself. You don't want to be biased about the product. You want to listen to the market, the customers, what they
Mhm.
want. When you actually listen, then you know their pain points, what you can target, what you can attack, what you can fix about the product. So then when you're entering the market, you actually add value to the space, you know. And I
Yeah,
think
agreed.
the biggest mistake a lot of people do is they don't really listen to that any feedback or anything, and they just try to create a product based off of how they feel, how they think it's going to perform in the market. And that's like the worst thing that you can do in any business, I feel
I have a saying, the market is the market is the market.
like.
Meaning it does not matter what I think will do well. It does not matter what I like. It matters what the market wants and how the market receives that. You should be going in and looking at competitors' good and bad reviews to take ideas from it. If you ignore all of this stuff, that's a huge downfall to your business. And even after you launch, You should be getting the feedback from the reviews. Don't just look at a bad review and be like, oh man, this person's the worst. Why would they leave this review? What are they saying? Are they saying that there was an issue with the product? And is that something that you can improve upon on one of your later orders?
Yep, constructive criticism is good,
Yeah.
always things to improve.
Do you have anything else on that point?
No, I think that's it for that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are our five biggest mistakes that new Amazon sellers make. Like I said, this is the new AMZ Masterclass coach inside of the mentorship, my boy Jimmy. If you guys want to have access to the Harvard of Amazon FBA private label education, the AMZ Masterclass is for you. Have direct access to me, Jimmy, all of the resources that I've built inside of the program for the students, and I will have that linked in the description of this video. But as always, have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you guys.